Hi, my name is Teddy Miller, and I'm here to do my informational speech on volleyball. I know I did one on volleyball before, but volleyball, I just know a lot of information about it. So, playing volleyball, it's a six-person sport. And what I mean by six-person, you have to have six people on the court. You can't have more than six, and you can't have less than six. And the six people on the court all have a position to play. So usually the six people that start on the court, it would be an outside hitter, it'll be an opposite hitter, it'll be the setter. You have the setter, you have a middle blocker, and you'll have the libero, and you'll also have another outside hitter, which means that they play all six rotations because one of them been back. So, how you want to do your starting lineup with volleyball is you'll have your OH, which is the outside hitter, and they'll be on the left side, and you'll have your middle blocker, who'll be in the middle, but they'll also be standing on the left side, and you'll have your setter. You have your setter on this side. They'll be on the opposite side of them, so they'll be on the right side. And then in the back, you also have another outside hitter who play all six rotations, which means she doesn't come off the court. So you have her right here, and then you'll have the libero in the middle because the libero is the best passer, and then you'll have another DS, which is the defense specialist, and they'll be in the back too. But with volleyball, you have they're all different positions. You have the OH, which is the outside hitter. You have the MB, which is the middle blocker. You have the S, which stands for setter, and you have the O, which stands for opposite. And the opposite is if you're left-handed, you will hit on the right side, and if you're right-handed, you'll hit on the left side. And then you have the L, which is the LB, which is the libero, and you have a DS, which is this defense specialist. The libero doesn't always stay on the floor because they have to rotate out for another middle blocker, but they do come back on. The libero is one of the best players on the floor. If you are an outside hitter, some outside hitters always play six rotations because you always need to have an attacker in the back row. And what I mean by that, if you are in the back row and you're a hitter in the front, then when you attack from the back row, you cannot step over the 3-meter line. You cannot step over that line or the point will go to the other team. What else? When you're up blocking on the net, you want to make sure that you don't touch the net when you come down, because if the only thing that won't count if it touched the net is like when you turn to run back and hit. If your hair touches the net, that doesn't matter. But if your hands touch the net or your arms when you're reaching up to block, it will go to the other team because it's called a net violation. But when you're blocking, you want to make sure your hands is over and down like this because it's going to send the ball directly down. You don't want the ball to tip off your fingers and go out of bounds. You don't want it to tip to the antenna, because if they hit it and it tips to the antenna, it's going to be their point because it went off your hands to the antenna. When you're hitting, when you're hitting on the outside, you wanna wait until the setter has set the ball, and then you want to run and jump. But if you're hitting in the middle, you need to run and jump before the setter sets the ball, because in the middle it's a quick hit, so you have to be very, very quick to hit in the middle, unless you're hitting a slide. Now when you're doing a slide, that means the setter is setting this way and she's finna pass the ball to the back, so you have to run like from the middle of the court, and you have to go around the setter, and then you'll jump and hit the ball to where it'll go to a defense. It'll go to like a acute angle, I guess you'd say. Yeah. And that's very hard to defend. When you're playing back row, you want to make sure that it's at least two of y'all in the back, and you need to make sure that make sure that one of the other hitters are behind, because if the ball is blocked, you want to be there to make sure you can keep it off the ground. And if they tip the ball, you want to make sure that you're there. You don't want to have a big circle in the middle, because the hitters from the other side of the team, or the other side of the net, they see that if it's a big area open, they'll tip it over. It is very hard to defend that, because when you do a pancake is when you slide, and like the top of your hand, this top of your hand keeps the ball up and the ball will fly up, but it's really hard to tell. So most of the time when you do a pancake, they don't count it, because they really can't tell unless it's very, very clear that they did it. Other than that, volleyball it's a good sport to watch. It's pretty easy once you get the grasp of it. And that's all.